Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Curse of Oak Island. Disaster in the Money Pit area as a great flood hits the garden shaft. The Curse of Oak Island team found themselves battling nature and a possible flood tunnel booby trap as the garden shaft project hit a massive hurdle. Also, the guys learned wood has been detected in Aladdin's cave, suggesting more evidence of human-made structures in the underground cavern. Last night's show was episode 7 of season 11, named The Great Flood, and the moniker was not meant to be ironic. A once-in-a-generation storm battered Oak Island and Nova Scotia, causing widespread destruction across the province and leaving the garden shaft with 30 feet of water. Before the storm, Dumas Mining Lit representative Roger Fortin took Marty and Rick Legina down the garden shaft to give an update on the miners' progress. They had increased the shaft depth from about 82 feet to 87 feet. Water was constantly dripping down the shaft, but Roger seemed very confident they could stop the flow using an expanding foam. However, after the storm hit, the team found the garden shaft full of water. The storm obviously contributed to the flooding, but Roger could not understand where the water was coming from. Oak Island team suspect they've hit a flood tunnel at the garden shaft. The shaft was bone dry last year, so why was there now 30 feet of water? The guys speculated that maybe going the extra depth meant they had hit a flood tunnel. These ancient booby traps, known as flood tunnels, were first encountered by the Onslow Company in the 19th century and are thought to release a torrent of water when breached at a depth of about 90 feet. The guys don't know if they've hit one of these flood tunnels, but it's massively frustrating. The excavation will now be put on hold for an indeterminate time, while the Dumas crew works on figuring out where the water came from and how to stop it. On a positive note, if they have hit a flood tunnel/booby trap, it could mean they are close to finding something important. Discovering wood at Aladdin's cave indicates human structures. Elsewhere, Dr. Ian Spooner and his colleagues, Dr. Matt Bluchman and Dr. Fred Mickles, were back in the war room with another round of data from their water testing. These guys have been uncovering traces of gold and silver in the water buried under the Money Pit area, and Matt has expanded the research to include organic materials, such as wood. Matt told the team that he'd found traces of wood in the water of Aladdin's cave, the cavern the guys have been probing at about 150 to 160 feet below the Money Pit area. Ian explained that there was no natural reason for wood to be found there, so its presence likely indicated human-made structures were placed down there. The guys have been trying to ascertain if the cavern is natural or human-made, and so far they've been unable to find conclusive evidence either way. Last night they put another high-definition camera down into the cavern, and there was great excitement when they spotted what looked like a metal bolt. Unfortunately, so much sediment was floating about that it was hard to get a clear image. Most of the guys were enthusiastic about the images, but there was evident disappointment etched on Marty's face, as he had likely been hoping to see actual treasure. This was a frustrating episode for the Fellowship of the Dig, as multiple problems seemingly hampered them. Don't expect them to give up any time soon though, they will keep striving. In the heart of the enigmatic Oak Island, where legends and mysteries intertwine like the roots of ancient trees, lies the infamous Money Pit, a place steeped in history, lore, and the promise of unimaginable treasure. For centuries, Oak Island has been a beacon for adventurers, treasure hunters, and those consumed by the allure of hidden riches. But with its allure comes danger, for the island guards its secrets fiercely, as if ensnared by an invisible web woven by the hands of fate. It was on a crisp autumn morning, with the tang of salt in the air and the distant cry of seagulls echoing over the rugged coastline, that disaster struck the Money Pit area. The sky, once a serene canvas of blue, darkened ominously as storm clouds gathered on the horizon. The wind whispered secrets of impending doom, but the intrepid souls on Oak Island paid them little heed, their minds consumed by visions of gold and jewels waiting to be unearthed. As the day wore on, the storm descended upon the island with a fury unmatched by any previous tempest. Rain lashed the landscape, and thunder rumbled like the roar of a vengeful god. But it was not the rain nor the thunder that would prove to be Oak Island's undoing. It was the flood that followed, a deluge of biblical proportions that would forever alter the landscape and the fate of those who dared to tread upon it. The money pit, that fabled shaft of mystery and intrigue, became the epicenter of the disaster. As the waters rose, swelling with a ferocity that seemed almost sentient, they surged into the pit with a relentless force, as if driven by an ancient curse determined to protect its secrets at all costs. The wooden platforms and scaffolding that lined the pit were no match for the unstoppable tide, swept away like flotsam on a raging river. Desperate shouts and cries for help filled the air as the treasure hunters scrambled to escape the rising waters. But for some, it was already too late. The floodwaters claimed them, dragging them down into the murky depths of the pit, their fate sealed by the very treasure they sought to claim. Above ground, chaos reigned as the storm raged on unabated. Trees were uprooted, buildings torn asunder, and the very earth itself seemed to tremble beneath the onslaught of nature's fury. And yet, amid the chaos and destruction, there was a sense of eerie calm, as if the island itself were holding its breath, waiting to see what fate had in store. In the aftermath of the flood, the money pit lay transformed, its once secret depths now laid bare for all to see. But the treasure that had eluded so many for so long remained tantalizingly out of reach, buried beneath layers of silt and debris, guarded still by the curse that had claimed so many lives. As the storm finally passed and the sun broke through the clouds once more, the survivors emerged from their shelters, their faces etched with grief and disbelief at the devastation that had befallen their beloved island. But even in the face of tragedy, the lure of Oak Island remained as strong as ever, beckoning to those who dared to seek its secrets, warning them of the dangers that lay hidden beneath the surface. And so the saga of Oak Island continues, a timeless tale of greed, obsession, and the eternal quest for treasure. But as the waters of the money pit slowly recede, they leave behind a reminder, a warning perhaps, that some mysteries are best left unsolved, some treasures best left untouched, lest they unleash forces beyond human comprehension. For Oak Island is not just a place of adventure and discovery, it is a place of secrets, guarded jealously by the island itself, and woe betide those who dare to defy its will.